So my name's Emma Catling. I'm the lead renal dietitian based here in Morriston Hospital, and I work here for the South West Wales Regional Renal Centre. So I've worked here for over 20 years, supporting the service regionally. Daily tasks within my role are extremely varied, and no one day, 1 hour is the same. Basically supporting renal patients, be they hemodialysis patients, peritoneal dialysis patients, transplant patients, patients on the ward, working around making safe changes for patients to keep their diet as normal as possible, but also keep them as safe as possible as well. Everyone brings their own unique challenge to the job that I do. They're constantly pushing me to think creatively for them, to support them nutritionally, to get the best for the patients as well, and also to keep them safe and support their family as well. So process is the referral comes in, you're working out what you're needing to do. So that's the real big information gathering from our systems. So the electronic systems we have, like Vital Data, are excellent, so we can get all the information we need. But working through then how the patient's doing, what their appetite's like, what their weight history's doing, and then taking them through a really step-by-step diet history. And then you're working towards what's the patient's likes, dislikes, what's their normal routine. So always working towards people's normal routine, not wanting to give people a list of don'ts. It's always, you can't have as much of that, but instead you can replace it with this. Very, very important for people to hear that message. So within home hemodialysis, we've got a lot more flexibility when we're trying to plan and work through someone's diet history and their dietary intake. So again, you're working through what are their trends for their blood results, what's going on with them dialysis-wise, are they dialysing well, are we clearing everything we need to clear, potassium and phosphate out. And actually, which is wonderful work to do, we actually sometimes need patients to eat more potassium and more phosphate to correct their bloods, which, having worked in the area for a very long time, it's just very nice and refreshing to be encouraging patients to physically eat more potassium and phosphate. And it goes to show how individual every patient's blood is as well. What's really nice as well is that you can then normalise family eating habits as well a little bit more, that, you know, family meals can be enjoyed even more so with home therapies as well. So the advantages for a home hemodialysis patient are you're getting that more gentle, steady daily dialysis or nocturnal dialysis, and by doing that we're getting a much more thorough clearance of the blood, which then can hopefully lead to a lot more flexibility within your diet. The other thing we find is patients almost have a lot more energy, they feel a lot weller. I've heard people describe it as almost this sort of extra energy level that people get because we're cleaning their blood so effectively, cleaning the toxins out, which then hopefully means that they can be a bit more active, even if it's just simple walking, but you know, you'll have people able to play with their family, you know, play with their kids, maybe even go back and do a bit more activity exercise-wise. So it's that extra energy level that patients will get as well, that people report is another really positive side of things as well. So one of the good things with nocturnal hemodialysis is that it gives us a lot more flexibility and variety for a patient's diet, whilst a renal dietitian is always trying to work with every patient we work with to introduce as much variety and balance in their diet. Unfortunately, there will sometimes be things that we need to be careful with. With nocturnal hemodialysis, we have a lot more flexibility, a lot more variety, and sometimes we actively need to increase the intake of certain foods to improve certain blood results. We also work with patients to do certain things, cooking methods to foods to improve the potassium content. So for example, with mashed potato, we would normally say to a patient, boil the potatoes well, throw the water away, and don't use the water to make a gravy or a sauce for our hemodialysis population. But actually for the nocturnal population, we may be then saying, something like a jacket potato would be preferable because we're keeping the potassium within the potato, we're not boiling the potassium out, so you end up having a higher potassium swap than you would if you were eating just the mashed potato. The other thing we can start doing is, again, introducing a lot more variety in the vegetables and some of the fruits that we can be encouraging patients to eat. So you're not only getting the goodness from the foods, but then also getting a bit more potassium as well. So things that previously people may have been a little bit careful with, things like mushrooms and tomatoes, you can then start introducing a lot more into your diet. Ideas that we can also increase things like your phosphate intake as well is by adding some possibly frozen fruits onto a yogurt. So again, you're getting the benefit of the extra phosphate and then the extra potassium from your frozen fruits as well. All really nice suggestions that can really make people's diet a lot more varied and a lot more fun. Simple snacks that we can also look at are getting some dried fruit into people, some nuts if appropriate. Other ways we can add snacks like bananas. You could even add the banana onto your yogurt. So all really nice and practical ways of getting a lot of variety, more vitamins and minerals, and introducing back in the things that the nocturnal dialysis is clearing out of your blood really effectively. I would definitely recommend home hemodialysis. I think it's important to talk to the team, talk to the experts, the technicians, the nurses. The other thing, if people are worried, talk to the patients, because ultimately the patients are the peer support. They're our experts. They're the ones doing it. So I think it's really also, talk to ourselves as dietitians, but the patients are the ones that are living it, and they know, the benefits firsthand really of how life-changing and family-changing it can be.